Hi, everyone. My name is Greeshma Gadikota. It's really a pleasure to be here with Tim. I'm a faculty member at Columbia University, and I'm really excited to be able to work with Element One on developing and deploying stimulated hydrogen technologies. The that we've done on geologic hydrogen is really focused on coming up with ways to accelerate the production of hydrogen in the subsurface. There are many conventional ways of making hydrogen above ground. We're all very familiar with them. We're grateful for them because they power so much of our day-to-day lives. But it's really interesting now to think about hydrogen as an energy resource as opposed to hydrogen as an energy carrier. So we developed a pathway to accelerate hydrogen production in the subsurface environment. Turns out we just need some suitable stones, some water, and we need some suitable chemicals. And the recipe is the secret. So that's the recipe that we work to develop, and we're excited to deploy in collaboration with Element One Hydrogen. So my journey in developing subsurface energy technologies actually began more than 15 years ago at Columbia University when I was a student. So we were looking at the rocks that we are now considering for hydrogen stimulation. But at that point, we were thinking about how we could store CO2 in those rocks. And turns out that the minerals that are effective in storing CO2 are very effective in meeting the demand for critical metals, but also in stimulating hydrogen production. So then we started thinking about how can we unlock the full value of this resource? Why don't we just start thinking about stimulating hydrogen in the subsurface, then recovering the critical metals, and then storing the CO2 in the subsurface so we can mineralize the CO2 and produce the carbonates. And that idea got us on this path of figuring out ways to first use these calcium, magnesium, nickel, chromium rich rocks to first stimulate hydrogen production. And then we have a way of leaching the metals into the solution so we can then recover the metals above ground and cycle the fluid back in. And at its end of life, and here we define end of life as a resource from which we've recovered the metals of interest, from which we've recovered the hydrogen. At its end of life, we inject CO2 into that reservoir and we let the CO2 mineralize so it can be durably stored for millennia.